So basically one of our clients was able to get, he's a construction company, so we put all of his subcontractors, payroll, and then construction costs into another company with a fiscal year end. We were able to get him a $15 million deferral over the course of several years.
How much?
15 million.
15 million.
Yeah, and so we basically, he was in California. We work all over the US, but the California examples are fun because California sucks on the tax side of things.
Yeah.
So we were able to get him a $7.5 million interest-free loan that he used to fund real estate. And now he has over $25 million of assets paid for, free and clear, with money that he would have thrown to the IRS.
It's still his, I don't miss it. It's go, 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 like a go, go flow. And I'm almost done. And I told you so when I throw these flows like it's Rochambeau. And I ain't too close, it's Joe Smoke goes. And I'm on my grind, that is all the time. I do not do breaks, that's right, I stay in dry. And look, I'm back with a little bit of that, a little more cash than it came in with. Ready, that cat is out that bag, but I still ask you, the boy got skills. I don't need her, I don't need him, I don't need help with me, I got this. I can sing songs, I can spit raps, and I can do both, even do this, word.
Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to personally thank the incredible sponsors who helped make it possible for us to film this episode in Kenya. Jonathan's Restaurant, Royal Bakery, Frozen Cow, The Pest Rangers, Elevation Wellness, Red's Barbershop, Axelrad, The Cadle Agency, and PA Inclusive. I also want to express my deepest gratitude to my family and friends, whether you supported this journey financially or just cheered me on every step of the way. Your support doesn't just keep the show going. It helps us bring these important stories to life and share them with the world. This episode is brought to you by Anthracite Pallet Solutions. Need reliable, durable pallets to keep your business moving? At Anthracite Pallet Solutions, we specialize in new and used 48x40 wooden pallets. Whether you're shipping, storing, or stacking, we offer high-quality pallets that keep your operations running smoothly. With our own fleet of trucks and trailers, we deliver on time, every time. And if warehouse space is a concern, our drop trailer services have you covered. From custom orders to large-scale deliveries, we're here to meet your every need with top-notch customer service and unbeatable prices. We're currently shipping within 2 hours of Scranton, Pennsylvania, including Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and Maryland. Call us today at 570-606-9206 or inquire online at anthracitepallet.com and let us handle your pallet solutions. Anthracite Pallet Solutions, built to last, designed to move. This episode is brought to you by the Pest Rangers. Finding insects in your home can be a real pest. I know I felt that way when I discovered termites living rent-free in my house. But thanks to the team at the Pest Rangers, I'm no longer bugging out over this issue. So if any creepy crawlers are cramping your style, there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. You gotta call the Pest Rangers. For more information on how to rid your home from unwanted pests, call the Pest Rangers today at 570-826-1114 or visit them online at thepestrangers.com. This episode is brought to you by Sweat Tent, the pioneers of the portable wood-burning sauna. Did you know that using the sauna 3 to 4 times per week could reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 50% and make you 60% less likely to experience Alzheimer's disease? That's why I've been a big fan of the sauna for years. But having to go to a crowded gym to do it isn't ideal. And all the at-home options are bulky and expensive. That's why I only use the Sweat Tent for my sauna needs. It's the most storable and affordable wood-burning sauna on the market. It not only takes minutes to set up, but it can reach 200 degrees Fahrenheit in 30 minutes or less. So whether you're enjoying it yourself in your backyard, with friends, or in need of a reliable sauna on the go, Sweat Tent is your best choice for the most portable, storable, and enjoyable outdoor sauna experience. All On the Stacks listeners will receive $100 off when you use code OTS. Visit sweattent.com today to get $100 off your purchase with code OTS at checkout. Again, that's sweattent.com to get $100 off with code OTS. Sweat Tent, helping you fire up your home wellness routine.
One of the things, in a good way, I wasn't expecting to be able to meet people like you and your family.
Yeah.
So it's like, we came here, first of all, I mean, this place is magnificent.
Yeah, it is.
And not that we didn't think it would be nice, but it's like, there's no words for it.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no words for it. But
Yeah.
So one of the things, like I said, like, you know, we didn't realize that we were actually going to be among other guests staying here. Like when we
Yep.
came, I'm thinking like, oh, like we're going to be, you know, we were in the guest house. I'm thinking like, oh, it's probably like a 4 or 5 bedroom house where, you know, it's going to just be us, right?
Yep.
So pleasantly surprised that we had there's other guests here. You know,
Yeah.
you're from America. There's somebody else what was it? Where was Pastor
Oh
Francis?
yeah, from Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
Yep, it's like a full-blown hotel.
Right, the Germans. There's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys from Germany here.
Yeah, and you missed a big group that was just here.
Oh,
about
really?
Like 40 people right before you guys came.
40?
It was like a
Where'd
good
they all
like 40
stay?
people. I guess it can fit. There's like 80 rooms in there.
There's that many?
Yeah,
Oh my
because we're
gosh.
planning to bring more groups next year. So
Yeah.
you fit a lot.
Wow, I didn't know there was that many.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's really cool. Like I said, I know you've been here a little bit longer than us. We've only been here for, I don't know, I've lost track of time, but I think 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And just in the 2 days that we've been here, we've experienced so much and met so many great people. Not only,
Yeah.
not only the the family here, the children and the staff and everything else, but obviously people like you, and it's just it's a phenomenal experience. Like how,
Yeah.
and I know because you guys are about to head out, so I'm glad we
Yeah,
connected here and
connected.
we're squeezing this in
Yep.
just before you're leaving. So how has your experience been here?
It's been incredible. So I actually heard about MCF when my oldest daughter, which she just turned 9 while we were in Africa, she was a baby when I heard about it, and I found one of the books that was written about Molly, and so I read about it while I rocked her to sleep, and then pretty much the documentary came out. One of my husband's coworkers knew the guy that made the documentary, and so he told me, he said, hey, that book you read, he said they're making a documentary about it, because I was just really inspired by the story. And so when that came out, we watched it, and then my husband last year got invited to come do a training, and he was having issues with his stomach at the time, and I said, you have to go regardless, just suck it up and go. Like, you have to go.
Yeah.
And then he came, and then it's been just really a pivotal moment in our lives with certain decisions that we've made. And then he said, next year, bringing the whole family. So here we are.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you been here? Like how many days?
This is 10 days total. So tomorrow, I think today's day 9.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're leaving at like 3:30 in the morning tomorrow to go on a safari before we head out.
Oh, you doing the safari?
Yeah.
Where at?
I don't know.
Is
It's
it
by the
Nakuru?
airport. It's
Oh,
not
okay,
going to be
it's
one
by-
of the fancy ones.
Okay.
But maybe a future trip we'll be able to.
Nice. Well, at least you're getting it in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I got to see the animals.
Yeah. So you're from California.
Yeah.
Were you born and raised there?
Yeah.
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 So tell me a little bit about where you come from
Yeah.
and kind of a little bit about your business and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm from a little town called Ripon. We're the almond capital of the world. You might know them as almonds. So we call them almonds because
Really?
when it falls off, the L gets knocked out when it falls out of the tree. So now you know.
Wow, I did not know that.
If you want to sound legit, say almond.
Almond.
And so grew up there. I went to college at Chico State in Northern California. And then I spent a little time in Colorado in college. And then my dad's been a CPA all my life, longer than I've been alive, I say. So he's an old fart. And started to work with him, and then a couple years ago we started our own family business. So me and my sister and my dad are in business together, and we help entrepreneurs pay less tax and do all the normal accounting stuff, tax planning, tax preparation, bookkeeping, payroll, all that good stuff. So
Who doesn't like to save on taxes?
who doesn't like that?
Right?
That's the exciting part of the business.
Yeah. I'm here for it all day long.
Yes.
Yeah. So right when we met and we exchanged information and we got on Instagram and I saw your content and I'm like, save $70,000. I need to talk to this lady, right? Yeah. So how has it been working? We were talking a little bit earlier today about family business stuff and how is it working with your family in the business? I'm sure there's a lot of positives, some negatives, some challenges, but how has it been for you working with your family?
Overall, it's been a very good experience. So luckily we all have different strengths and skills. And so I get to do the fun part, I think. I get to just talk to people.
I agree. Yeah.
So talk to people and do all that fun stuff. I take the initial calls and kind of help guide them on their next steps as a client. And then I get to do all the marketing, so that part's fun. So I get to go to all the mastermind groups, conferences, all that stuff. My sister's more behind the scenes. She would hate doing my job. And so she does all the operational stuff, all that good stuff. And then my dad trains all of our CPAs and all of our partners in that area because he's the brains behind that.
Yeah. How many CPAs are there?
We have about 5 different CPAs, 4 different partners right now. So they're truly partners in the business, and what I like about that is they have invested interest in the client's success. And so my dad just makes sure that they do, they stay up to date with the creative stuff because that's why people come to us often. And then he just makes himself available to them.
Very cool. Very cool. So this is probably the most important question of this whole interview episode here is how's the pizza in California?
Pizza? I think it's pretty good.
Is it?
I don't know if it's as good as you guys.
Yeah. Have you ever been on the East Coast?
I have been on the East Coast, but I've never been to Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah. So we're like a little north of Philly, but I mean I think anywhere like in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. I mean maybe not New Jersey. We like to make fun of New Jersey, but yeah, we like our hometown. Like we're in like the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar.
Office.
The Office. Yeah. That's always the go-to. It's the easiest thing.
It's like one of my favorite shows.
Yeah. It's so funny because like not that I don't like the show, but I think because we're from the area, like it's one of those things where like I of course I watch. I've seen some of it, but I was never like a diehard fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people in our hometown, you know, obviously love it and everything. But a friend of mine, the crazy part is a friend of mine back home, his name is Denny Corby, and his family actually owns the company. There's actually a real company called PA Paper and Supply. Okay, in Scranton. It's a real. It still exists.
Is it based off of that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Wow.
That's the thing that a lot of people may not realize.
Is it the same office or like they're a paper supply company. So like it's just like PA Paper and Supply is just like that is the like it's the
literally
office?
that's the office.
Great.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot that's made up for entertainment purposes, but it's truly based off like that clock tower that you see.
Yeah.
That's real.
Wow.
Like it's there. Like
that's
all
cool.
there. And again, like I don't, because I've never really watched the show as much, but I do know just through friends of mine that have been involved with like screenplays and writing and all that, and like writers writing for movies and television, that that the writers really did their homework, like because a lot of the episodes, again, because I haven't watched it, but from what I've been told through people that actually write for for movies, have told me like, oh yeah, like because they were like diehard fans, and they're like, oh yeah, like these parts in the episodes, like it's all like so real, and those people can tell, like based on the show, they can tell like, oh my gosh, like these writers actually did their research
homework.
And like it's like legit.
That's great.
Yeah.
There's another show that's based on an accounting firm. Similar humor to The Office.
What's the show?
I forget what it's called. I need to look it up.
Okay.
It's only on YouTube that I've seen.
Okay.
But the humor is very similar, like dry, stupid humor.
Yeah.
We always joke that my dad is Michael Scott because
That's great.
He's not.
I gotta
as
meet
like,
your dad.
He's not as like cringy, but
still,
he has no filter.
You were saying right before he came on, like your dad has his moments.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know. I feel like your dad's a guy I need to sit down with.
Yes. He's pretty funny. He had a joke. What was it? He's saying that he said that we were at a conference and he was speaking, and it was during tax season. So he said his team had they said that he was like, what was it? Oh, he says they nicknamed me Foreskin because I disappear when things get hard.
That's great.
So that's my dad.
I love
just
it.
gives you a sneak preview.
Oh, that says it all right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is your dad like? Is he tech savvy? Like, do you think he'll watch this, or because this will be obviously?
If I tell him, he would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this will be on YouTube, but obviously, if somebody like him who may not like. Or anyone that doesn't want to sit down and actually watch, if they don't want to see our beautiful faces in front of this beautiful
painting.
Artwork. Yeah, the artwork. It's 3D. They can listen, obviously, the audio on any platform, on Spotify or Apple or anything. But yeah. But back to the pizza is a real serious thing. Like, we take pizza like very serious back.
Pizza's very good, but you do the big pizza, the big slices, right?
We've got like all different kinds. Like, what's a pizza like by you? Like it's like
it depends. Like, I'll go to Mountain
Mike's. Oh, is it like small? Like, is it thin crust? I love
thin crust. It just depends on where you go. We have medium-sized crust. There's one place near me. Used to call it Pizza Plus. They call it Gold Dust now, but all the locals are like, they boycott the Gold Dust name. It's Pizza Plus.
Okay.
That's very good. Very like fresh pizza, very fresh ingredients.
Is it like, do you have like a lot of like locally owned family business,
not a
like
lot,
food?
But some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like by us, like that's like the unique part. Like in our hometown is pretty much, obviously of course we have the chains. We have like all your typical chains, but at the same time, in our area, it's like when people from, I'll say, out of the area come to our town or thereabouts, like we have so many, like we have way more like locally owned, like family pizzerias and restaurants and all that. Like,
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like we have way more than that than the chains, which is like really cool.
Yeah.
And there's so much good food, not just pizza, like
What do you think of the food here?
You know what? Very good.
Yeah,
honestly.
they do a good job cooking. And they also have a
They
lot
do.
of plants to choose from, luckily.
Yeah.
I don't think everywhere that you'll go in Africa will be that way.
Yeah, you know, I think we were we're spoiled here,
Yes.
right? You know, at MCF we've been
they treat
spoiled,
us
you know, which we're very grateful for.
Yeah.
Obviously, our second leg to this trip, you know, we're staying at a hotel. I'm sure it'll be nice, but it probably won't be as nice and as good as here. But did you try the pineapple, by the way?
Yeah, it's very good.
And did you know it's literally grown right down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their bananas too are very sweet. You guys haven't gotten to try them, I don't think, yet.
No.
But maybe grab a couple before you leave and let them ripen. Because they're not ripe yet, but they just took.
Do they normally put them out for like the meals?
They do if they're ripe. Yeah, they haven't had
so
them.
they probably just keep them in the back until they're ripe, and then they probably put them out?
Yeah, I'll show you where to go. It's in Molly's old house.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, his original house when I got here.
So did you know that the building that we're staying in, do you know that was actually supposed to be Molly's retirement home?
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, and he turned it into a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a pretty amazing guy. It really
for sure.
is inspiring, makes you want to live beyond yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, just instantly, like you even just being in his presence, you just feel it.
Yeah.
And for what he's done and what he's built and the amount of people that he's helped, it's almost like you can't even comprehend it. Like it's so hard. It doesn't even still being here. Like I'm sure you probably feel the same way, but like even just being here, it's like it's so surreal.
Yeah.
And I've never Josh has, but Eric and I, like, we never ever experienced anything like this. Like this is again like a little coming into this a little bit. We didn't know a little bit what to expect.
Yeah.
Obviously we all saw a documentary. And it was funny. Walter, shout out to Walter. He's one of the he's on the media team here at MCF, and he's been going around with us and helping shoot some content and everything. So he yesterday after I sat down with Molly, Walter was with us the whole time, and him and I were just chit chatting afterwards, and he was like, so he's like, we were just talking about, I was talking about, we saw a documentary, blah blah, and he's like, so what do you think? He goes, is it here? Is it just like the documentary? Like, is it?
No, it's much bigger.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I said, well, the people, like the hospitality, like all that, like everything was like all the same. Like it's everything that I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And then some. You know what I mean? Like it was like you said, much bigger. Like as far as like the property, because in the documentary, of course, it shows the vastness of the property. But we have a couple flies. So don't mind us, by the way, if we're doing some of these, like we're okay. Like none of us are freaking out. We're just
we've come down with some Tourette's while we're here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got these. I was like, wow, boy, they're really tight. They really talk with their hands. But yeah, I mean, like like I said, I was telling Walter, I'm like, there was also a lot there was a lot more here that really wasn't in the documentary.
Yeah, they can't. I don't think they can show it all.
Plus, it's also still there's still so much more being built constantly. Yeah. So from the time the documentary was filmed till us being here in the present now, like there's been, I think, so much more, and I don't even know, but there's been so much more that has developed here. Yeah. Like that sports complex. Like
even last year they just started building that sports complex, I think, and my husband said it's come really far.
It's unbelievable.
Since last year.
And they said it's going to be done, I think, in 3 months.
Have you guys seen the hospital?
On the way in?
Yeah, so they're building that. So that's a $6 million project that they need more. Yeah. But it's going to help so much in this community. So it's just really, it's pretty cool.
It's really crazy thing. So like, from here to Nairobi, which is where the airport is, I'm sure you flew in right there too. Yeah. So there's no hospital, I think, right? In between. There's not, like the closest hospital I think is in Nairobi, like in the city of Nairobi. Like I'm guessing somewhere near the airport.
And it's not free. They're going to provide, the people that can pay, they'll pay. The people that can't pay, they're still going to treat. Yeah. Which is huge. Because it's the amount of people that probably die or,
Oh, yeah.
Like our friends from Sierra Leone, my husband went out and visited him.
Oh, really?
And there's, this is last year, I think it was, or a year before. But so the school that they run is named after my husband's mom that passed away when he was a kid. So it's Auntie Shirley's International Academy.
Oh, wow.
So we flew them out to learn. He was about Molly's age when Molly started, and they're doing the same kind of thing down there. So we thought he can learn from him. But there was a kid down there that had his stomach was hurting him, and they couldn't afford to take him to the hospital. And so my husband said that they could tell he's just in severe pain. Yeah. So he's like, "We'll pay for him. Let's take him." And he had appendicitis. Wow. It was literally like a day from bursting.
I was gonna say, he could probably die like any minute.
Yep. And so the surgery was only like $100. $120.
It's unbelievable.
And they wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Can you imagine? like in the U.S. Like it's just like I don't even know how normal people even survive and even get by even with healthcare. Like it's out of control. It's out of control in the U.S.
So what he's doing is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so the tax knowledge for entrepreneurs. I was sharing with you a little bit before. Our show, it's a little bit of everything. It's business, it's entrepreneurship, it's life. I've had the gamut of guests on this show, but a lot of people that do consume our content is of, I'll say, our kind, right?
The entrepreneur ADD people.
Right? Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Yep. So we're basically the same person, but yeah. So tell me a little bit about kind of, obviously I know you do the marketing, you touched on that a little bit, but how do you guys really help entrepreneurs? Like what is when you first either take on a client, like what do you look for in a client and vice versa?
Yeah. So we actually have a process that within 10 to 15 minutes, I can uncover an average of $70,000 in savings if they're netting, $250 and up. So if they have kids, we'll look at how to put them on the payroll. A lot of the times, my kids are my models, so just easy because they're, you met them, they're 7 and 9. There's not much more they can do besides that and look cute.
Yeah, right.
So we do that. Those are simple ones. Putting, renting your house to your business, the Augusta strategy. A lot of people know that. My dad, for example, one of the things that he does, my grandma's 91, and she didn't save enough to, retire well. And so what he did is he just set up a marketing company, passively owned by her. So she's just a shareholder of the company. He basically hires that company for services, and he still does all the services, but he shifts about 80 grand of his income to her lower tax bracket.
Oh, wow.
We're in California, so that's about $40,000 in savings on taxes.
That's a lot.
And so he lets her, keep some of it. He pays her tax, so it's about $10,000 in tax. So he net profits about 30 grand on that, and then he just splits it with her. So he profits about 15 grand total.
Wow.
With just helping my grandma out.
That's incredible.
So he says, I always like it because I get the credit as the fair-haired child that supports my mom, but I actually make money on it. So So we do that a lot. We'll do that with college students. We've actually gotten somebody in-state tuition with that because if you're sending your kid, he was in California, his daughter was going to Arizona State, so he set up a corporation in Arizona and basically shifted money to there, and so she was able to qualify for financial aid, but also got in-state tuition, which saves a lot. And then every time that client visits his daughter, every time she comes home, it's a deduction. So visiting a vendor, right?
Yeah, right.
So we'll look at that. And then if we have clients that have a lot of payroll and marketing, for example, we'll set up a new corporation with a November year end, and we'll teach them how to funnel the funds back and forth and get a big tax deferral. So basically one of our clients was able to get, he's a construction company, so we put all of his subcontractors, payroll, and then construction costs into another company with a fiscal year end. We were able to get him a $15 million deferral over the course of several years.
How much?
15 million.
15 million.
Yeah, and so we basically, he was in California. We work all over the U.S., but the California examples are fun because California sucks on the tax side of things. So we were able to get him a $7.5 million interest-free loan that he used to fund real estate, and now he has over $25 million of assets paid for, free and clear, with money that he would have thrown to the IRS.
I'm stunned right now.
Yeah.
So obviously, we're in Pennsilvania. Have you worked with anyone in PA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then you know enough about PA. I mean, I'm not I'm horrible at accounting and all that stuff. Not my. As we said before,
That's why you need to hire somebody.
Yeah, we're the outgoing people. Not not that all accountants aren't outgoing, right?
I hire a bookkeeper myself.
Same.
Because yes.
Because we're not numbers people.
No.
The only numbers I know how to do is what's in my bank account. Okay, I have some money in there.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm good. But yeah, I'd be curious to just learn a little bit more about obviously maybe some of the laws in Pennsylvania, how not all of our listeners are in PA. Obviously, we have listeners all over the world too. But a lot of the entrepreneurs, a majority of them will be listening to this, will be in PA. Is there anything, from a small business standpoint that whether you're a solo entrepreneur or small business, obviously you shared a little bit about net 250 and above type thing. But is there anything else from a small business owner standpoint, maybe in Pennsylvania specifically? I'm really just being selfish here and asking for me. that anyone could just do tomorrow.
Tips?
Something, anything, tips or
good set of books. a lot of people, this is so simple, it's not sexy, but it's important because you can't do anything else unless you know your numbers.
Right.
So have a good set of books, separate bank account, separate business, credit card for all your business transactions, and don't intermingle. One of our clients, he intermingled. We audited his bank statements from his personal side. We found $50,000 in deductions just by auditing his personal accounts. So it's so important to just keep it separate.
So like it was money that he was spending, with the personal that wasn't being accounted for, like bookkeeping wise over here. Is that right?
For the business. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's money, or it's like too, like learning what you can deduct, what not. Like if you make a
it's always like a gray line area.
There's
by the
a lot
way,
of
like
gray.
because I like to I'll say push the boundaries a little, but legally, of course, and I think there's
well, everything's a deduction until you get caught. So it's no understanding.
Is that the rule?
Pretty much.
Okay,
but
I
until
like
you
that.
get audited, right? And so then
you say sorry?
Well, no, then you have to pay interest and penalties on it.
Okay.
So you don't want to. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly. Like a lot of people don't realize that their bank statements are not enough to withstand an audit. You need your receipt and you need to write down the purpose. So things like that. We actually put together a tax course that goes through basics and then more advanced strategies. So we give that away for free. So
I was going to say, is it free?
Yeah.
Where can people find it?
They can just go ahead and they can message me on Instagram. Melanie Sikma is my handle, or they can just text 209-924-4718. That's my work line. You can just text course, and then I can get them access.
Nice. Yeah. Send it to me right after this.
Yeah. And then my dad actually jumps in on quarterly office hours to answer questions.
Nice.
He's not really available for clients, so that's the only time he really is. So if people want to jump in and just ask questions, that's all for free. So.
Nice. What else? Is there anything? Any other tax tips, or like something up something super simple like tomorrow? Like if somebody's like, I just need to do something tomorrow about my tax or my bookkeeping situation. Like,
if you're netting over, I'd say 50 to 70,000, depending on what state you're in, you probably should be looking at being an S corp. That's when that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
that's always the challenge. Like where's that area that you finally make the transition?
Typically, on average, it's about 60,000 net profit, and that's if you're netting 60 after all the other deductions.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, as like an LLC or a sole prop, you're paying self-employment tax on 15.3%. That adds an additional 15.3% tax. As an S corp, that self-employment tax goes away, but it's replaced with payroll taxes, and so we just put you on a low but reasonable wage as an officer.
This episode is brought to you by Elevation Wellness, NEPA's premier wellness center located on Mundy Street in Wilkes-Barre. From pro athletes to busy parents, Elevation Wellness is leading the conversation when it comes to bettering your health through integrative medicine. Founded by NEPA native Louis Helmecke, Elevation Wellness offers physician-formulated and guided treatments that are administered by registered nurses. To learn more about how you can experience the benefits of IV vitamin therapy, multivitamin booster shots, non-invasive aesthetics, or peptide, NAD, red light, and compression therapy, visit elevation-wellness.com or follow them on Instagram at elevationwellnessnepa. All Honest Tax listeners will receive 10% off their first purchase with code STACKS at checkout. Call 570-762-9400 or visit elevation-wellness.com to book your appointment today. Elevation Wellness, taking your health to new heights.
So back to that real estate example that you gave, because I'm interested in real estate. I own a property. I'm looking to
get more.
Looking to get some more. I'm very interested in hearing a little bit more about maybe a little bit that exact example you gave, but even others if you have any others. But so tell me again, how'd that work out?
Yeah, so he had a construction company. I'll put this up here.
Yep.
And then, or here for the cameras on.
Up here's out, We could switch the line.
I'll put it on my face. Yeah. So here is the main company, and it has a December year end. The new company is a November year end company. It's both S corps, and it's going to have a November year end. So there's like a month gap. And so we basically would put all the payroll and marketing into that company. It depends on every business we work with. It's all individualized. But we marked it up about 40%. And then that company invoiced the main company all year long. But the main company didn't get around to paying the bill until December hit. And then it paid everything off. And so basically you can also prepay a whole year's of expenses in advance if you're a cash basis. There's some random things like that. But this main company, basically, we were able to create a big deduction, but we pushed all the profit into the new company for the next year. So they have different year ends.
Interesting.
So where you hold the profit is depending on the time of the year.
Okay, so you kind of sort of take that year by year and just...
And so you could kick it until you...
quarterly?
Basically, we say it's called our kick the can plan, because you can kick the can basically down the road. And then if you pair it with life insurance, you kick the can until you kick the bucket, like the death benefit, pay it off, and then you just don't have to pay taxes.
It's a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad actually, we used to call it the crack cocaine plan, because it's fun and addictive while you're doing it, but you got to go back into rehab eventually and pay back the tax.
Did your dad come up with that?
Yeah.
That's another one of his...
he came up with the crack cocaine. I came up with kick the can because a lot of people are like, is that legal? And,
right, yeah,
you know?
I definitely knew. I knew without even you answering that he was the crack cocaine example, for sure. I knew it. It's based on the story you already told,
And then, we have these other strategies that help avoid capital gains, and we call those our hangover pills, because we had crack cocaine with a hangover pill. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is great. Yeah. So something that everybody, not everybody obviously can relate to me doing drugs, but I'm just saying, like, it simplifies it.
Yes.
Like, it really
makes it fun, sticky.
Yeah, it's not so boring because, you know what, to be honest,
taxes are boring.
Taxes are boring unless you're a tax and a numbers person.
Yeah.
This stuff's boring.
It's really boring. It's so awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is nice to save the money.
Yes.
And be able to, move things around, take advantage of the profit without having to have it eaten up by the government.
Yes.
Or, as you said, like before with the example of using the personal account and you just don't even realize you just blew 50 grand and you're like, you don't even know.
Yeah.
Like you won't even know until like somebody like you or somebody else, that accountant, bookkeeping, come along and really look at it and be like, oh, hey, guess what?
Well, and really, like, as boring as it is, I never realized how important it was until I've talked to several people with major tax issues. And I've talked to even somebody that was going to kill themselves if we hadn't helped them. He told my dad that he's like, if you guys hadn't helped me, I was going to jump off the balcony. And it's like, you don't really realize how finances really do weigh on people. And so little things like that you can avoid the stress down the road.
Yeah, that is very powerful.
He's had 5 people say they would have killed themselves if he hadn't helped them.
Really?
This was my first person last year, but yeah.
Wow. That people were on the brink of...
Yeah.
Wow, it's so sad.
Yeah, so it's important.
It is.
It's boring,
it is, yeah.
but it's important.
It is, yeah. Like you said, I think people don't realize that the stress that finances cause, like not only from a business standpoint.
Lack of finances,
yeah, or lack of
finances,
and and the pressure that it puts on, like, your family, of course, if it's a family-owned business, or any business, even if it's not a family business, but you as the business owner, dealing with all that stuff every day, every week. Maybe some weeks you're like praying that you're going to make payroll and all that, and the stress of that stuff. It's heavy.
Yeah,
it's heavy
for
stuff.
sure. Yeah.
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 I mean, it's, again, like you said, it's one of those things that we, at least us, we don't think about it as much as everybody else, because we're not the crunching the numbers. But obviously you have a ton of knowledge in it, which is
I get to learn
great.
all the stuff. I kind of think of myself as the translator, because it's oftentimes a foreign subject, and since I don't naturally think that way, it's kind of helpful to have somebody that doesn't think that way explain it.
Yeah, but you can sort of dumb it down to like
because I needed it dumbed down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. I need the crack cocaine analogies. Like,
yes. That plan, I had to have my dad explain it like 15 times before I fully got it.
Yeah.
But I also, when I first started with my dad, I didn't even know what an S corp was. So that tells you how much I didn't know. Yeah. And then just how much you can learn in a short period of time.
Yeah. How do you continue to learn? Like, what do you do? I'm sure you're learning a lot from your dad. You mentioned a little bit about like some masterminds and other things you go to, but like how else do you just learn, I'll say, in the entrepreneurial space? Like, what do you do? Yeah, so I typically like to just ask a lot of questions, and oftentimes the questions that I get asked, instead of just passing them off to somebody, I find the answer, and then I give it back, and then that helps me understand it. I also listen to a lot of podcasts, and the tax-related ones that can be kind of boring, but it does help me understand it. And then just the entrepreneurial stuff. My dad actually used to be a CFO. So we do our weekly meetings. We have leadership meetings every week. We do our monthly and quarterly meetings. And so all those meeting rhythms I get to learn and glean from him on how to run a successful business. So yeah. What do you have like one or two favorite podcasts? It doesn't have to be just numbers or tax wise. Alex Hormozi and Layla Hormozi. Layla Hormozi especially, I learn a lot from her about running, operating a company, and running a team, doing that well. She's amazing. Yeah, Alex Hormozi is his content right now is all over. On fire. We went to his workshop. Did you? The acquisition workshop. Yeah, it's really great. You got a lot out of it? A lot, yeah. Really? It's worth it. Nice. Yeah. I'll have to check it out. Yeah. Yeah. And anything else like besides like podcasts? Like do you travel around like on any like conferences or anything?
Yeah, I'm part of several different masterminds. So I'm part of the Legacy Family with Tim Bratz. That's a great one. Leadership Boardroom, Sean McCloskey. Just joined Investor Fuel with Mike Hambright. And that's a lot of flippers, wholesalers. So
do you do a lot in the real estate?
A lot. I don't know. It's like not what we try to, but
it just sort of happens.
They just flock to. Yeah, I think it's because we know what we're doing with the real estate world, and it's a whole new ball game with taxes. So it's important if you are in real estate to have a tax professional that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're not taking advantage of every loophole that you can.
Yeah, and I think most people don't realize the advantages of owning real estate.
Yes.
Like there's so much.
You literally don't have to, if you buy enough real estate every year, you don't have to pay taxes because of cost seg studies. But it's your cost seg study. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, I threw out a tax term and I'm like, let me break it down.
Yeah. Yep.
So a cost segregation study, if you qualify as a real estate professional, which means you do 750 hours or more in real estate, you could basically accelerate the depreciation and take that depreciation all in 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you buy a whole apartment building, you can use that to offset your taxes from your business. A lot of people, like you have a business, so you couldn't qualify as a real estate professional. Your wife could, though, if she qualifies.
I see.
And
So
what
do we got to do? Like, how does that work?
You have to track it. So 750 hours in qualified real estate activities, and then yeah, basically just.
We have a bike rider here.
Yeah. Evie, we're on a podcast. You need to
say hello. Just wave to the camera. Wave. Say hello.
Don't come back, okay?
Thank you for visiting, though.
Yeah. So you have to have 750 hours in qualified real estate activity. We have a flow chart that we can share if people want that. They can text the same number as earlier, the 209-924-4718. I haven't had to say it in a while since I've been here.
Yeah, because you're probably not giving it out to too many people here, right?
I know.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Or the other way to do it is if you buy like a short-term rental, if your wife works, you both can't qualify for the real estate professional.
If she has like a day job?
Yeah.
Shucks.
Yeah, so you could buy a short-term rental.
You gotta quit your job.
You could buy a short-term rental though, and then you don't have to hit all the hours. You just have to hit like 100, and you have to self-manage it. You could use that to offset your income.
Gotcha.
So that's a loophole.
Yeah. What was that $15 million one that you gave earlier? That example. What was that one again?
So that was the crack cocaine, the kick the can.
Yeah.
Plan.
Explain that one again. Sorry, like again, numbers.
That's okay. So your main company probably has a December year end. We put all of his. He had a lot of subcontractor expenses and construction costs. So we just formed a different company with a November year end. We basically marked up the prices with industry averages.
Right.
And then the way that we taught him to funnel the money back and forth, basically invoiced all year but didn't pay it off until December hit. And so it created a big deduction to the main company, but it didn't show his profit until the next year, and then we just pushed it down the line.
And how much did he save?
He saved he got about $7.5 million in his pocket that he would have owed the IRS.
That's crazy.
And he just used that to fund real estate. And then he only owes now about $2 million, but we've feathered that back in year after year. And so he basically used it like an interest-free loan. That's the purpose of it. You don't want to buy any nice stuff with it. It's to grow your business, grow your assets, whatever. Yeah.
Interest-free loan. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Who isn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Especially now with
Yeah, I mean, like when I, just getting started with some of this stuff, like I always joke, it's kind of funny, like looking back on it, like, a lot of people like may or may not realize this. I mean, I probably shared this a couple times on our show before, but like, even just getting started with like some equipment and stuff, like I didn't want to take a loan. Not that I couldn't, but I didn't want to take a loan. It's like, oh, well, I'm not saying to go open up like 10 credit cards, but if you get a 18-month interest-free credit card.
Yes. And
there you go. There's your free loan.
Startup bonuses too are
good.
Oh
yeah. Spend $6,000 within the first 6 months. You get the $750 or $500 back. Plus you get the 18 months of no interest, and not only you got that free cash back, then you have a free loan. That's what I tell everybody. A lot of people don't realize it's it's such a simple thing. Like people don't realize it.
As long as you pay it back. That's the goal.
You have to. Yes, you have to pay it back within that. Like, and if you don't, then you're paying all the retroactive interest from that whole time. So
Yeah.
yes, that is key. A little thing, I'm not a CPA or anything like that,
Tax,
but
yeah,
I do,
financial.
at least I know that
Yeah.
pay it off. And you know, we still do it all the time. Like, I mean, there's like the Home Depot thing, you know, you can get every once in a while. Like we always do that with some, you know, you get the interest-free
My husband's
special that they run.
He's a big credit card, like, I don't know if it's called hacker, but
Yeah, pretty much.
whatever.
Yeah.
But we paid for our 10-year anniversary trip in January with credit card points.
Nice.
It's like a $50,000 trip. We went to the Maldives, went to Qatar, went to Singapore, got to stay at the Waldorf Astoria in Maldives, which is
Wow.
like $3,000 a night, and we flew business class.
Oh my God.
It was amazing.
That's like an ultimate trip.
It was amazing, yeah. So I'm like not as for Dave Ramsey as some people are. We wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah.
But we did it responsibly. We paid it all off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's the points guru.
Yeah, he's very good.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. So what does he do?
He works for a Christian ministry, and we're starting our own nonprofit called All In International. So he's stepping away from his role now and just going to do that full time. And so it's a bit of a leap of faith because we're, jumping into that. So, but we're going to help vulnerable children around the world. And it's basically, we're partnering with people like Molly, and in Francis. The reason why we flew them out is kind of the launching of this new nonprofit that we're starting.
So that was like part of this trip for you guys was kicking that off?
Kicking that off.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting. And to bring our family here has been cool.
That is cool.
So very excited, and just seeing Francis and his wife Mary and just be filled, like they're going back excited, and it's draining work. They work with about 400 kids. 50 of them are orphans, and about half of those are staying with them. And so they can only, they're eating one meal a day right now.
Wow.
And so they're literally sacrificing and giving of themselves to help these kids. And so
that's impressive.
They're going back filled, and we're excited. So be able to help them and help them help the kids. So.
Yeah. So like where, for the nonprofit that your husband and you guys are doing, like where is it going to operate?
Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, are you going to go to any sites like stuff like this? Are you going to like?
Well, we're going to do, right now it's just Sierra Leone and Kenya. Those are the two, we're focusing mainly on that, but we're going to probably find more Francises to basically learn and glean from Molly. Because it's, instead of just recreating the wheel, Molly does a great job, and he can speak to them in a way we can't because we've never done it. So we're just basically leveraging relationships to be able to make a bigger impact.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. I mean, obviously, we know, and but like relationships and making those connections. Like, I mean, even just this connection. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, like I said, when we first started, I had no idea that we were going to be among other guests here.
I know,
I'm thinking like we were coming here like, oh, we're going to be the only guests. Like, not realizing. I knew how big this place was, but I didn't think the guest house.
Yeah.
Guest house. It sounds. It's more like a guest Taj Mahal. But again, like these relationships, like I think they're so key. You know, and I'm so glad we actually got to sit down and do this before you left, because even though you're in California and I'm in Pennsylvania, like we already just from like within 5 minutes of meeting each other, we already like saw and made some connections of like just mutual contacts, which is like unbelievable. Like
it's a small world.
It is. And like we were here in Kenya, and I meet somebody else from the United States on the complete opposite side of the country, and we had mutual connections. Like it's unbelievable. Like I never ever in a million years would have thought. And I don't even know if I told you, I told the story so many times today, probably because we were meeting with all the kids today, and because they were asking me like, hey, why are you, like, how did you make the connection? How did you hear about MCF? Like, why are you here? Did I tell you this yet? So when we decided to come to Kenya, so it was in December of 2023, Josh, who I'd barely known at the time, by the way, like we were friends on Facebook, right?
Okay.
From the same hometown. The only reason I knew him is because the commercial property that I own where our studios are at, I actually bought it from his parents.
Oh.
So I only met Josh by accident. So I actually in like 2 or 3 days is like the 2 years I've owned that building, I think. I forget.
Wow.
But yeah, so like the anniversary of me purchasing his parents' building is actually during this trip.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But the only reason I met Josh is after I bought the building, like literally the day of the closing, I left the attorney's office, with the key, first time, right? I'm going just to go in. I had to let my mom in. My mom was going to be there to help, let a couple like contractors and stuff come in.
Yeah.
And Josh happened to be parked in the parking on the property. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I've owned this building for 30 minutes and there's already people parking like on my property. Like I gotta kick somebody off the property, right? So I'm like, oh, mad, right? And I'm like, I go outside and I'm looking all around, there's a car parked there, and then here comes Josh walking. Yeah. And his parents, like he actually grew up, like his parents own the house like right next door too. Oh. So Josh comes over, he's like, oh, I'm like, he comes walking, he's kind of like flagging me down, and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, he's probably the guy. I'm like, oh, hey, is that your car? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, he goes, sorry. He goes, I'm heading out right now. He goes, I was only here for a couple minutes. I'm like, oh, no worries, don't worry about it. I said, I just was curious, like, who it was, you know? And he's like, yeah, I was just visiting my parents right here next door. He goes, you must be Bill, right? And I'm like, how does this guy know, right? And he goes, you just bought the building, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, we bought it for my parents. He's like, I'm Josh and I'm Bill. And we talked for like a half hour or so that day. Yeah. And then we hadn't spoken again. Again, that was 2 years ago. Really probably until like I ran into him like one time like out of the store. Yeah. Real brief. And then the next interaction we had was in December of 2023. I posted a picture or something on Facebook and I just said, hey, like we're looking to do some, like almost all of our episodes are filmed in our studio on the same location. But I said to Josh, I was like, hey, or I just posted something on Facebook. Hey, I'm looking for anywhere like local in our area to do like a cool like on-site episode, like a couple. I'd like to do some on-site stuff, and I got like a ton of recommendations. Probably like 100 people like with all great. Like there was not one bad recommendation, right? And Josh was one of them. And Josh comments and he goes, I know you said local. He goes, but how about coming to Africa for the Dirt Project? That's his nonprofit, right? He goes, how about coming to Africa and doing some podcasts about the Dirt Project and the work that we're doing? Yeah. And like as soon as I saw the comment, like commented back just like a funny GIF or something, like yes or whatever. I commented, right? And then I immediately messaged him. Yeah. And I was like, hey man, like I'm like very interested in that. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna fund it. I was like, but I'm sure we can figure it out between the two of us. Yeah. I said, I'm really interested. Like, you want to like, can we talk on the phone, like, and like just so I can learn and understand a little bit more about what you're doing, what it all entails, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, sure. Like, so within 1 hour of that of him commenting, we were on the phone, and I was like, I within 1 minute of talking, I was like, Josh, like I'm already like, you don't even need to say anymore. Like I'm in. Yeah. Like I'm in. Like just tell me like what this is gonna cost. Like, and then let's just figure that out backwards. Yeah. It's like we committed. I'm the type of person where I'll as long as I believe in something, right, and I like it and I want to do it, I'm of the mindset like commit to it and figure it out later.
Figure it out. That's
right?
how I am. It's the maverick personality.
It
is
what it is. Right? Yeah. So literally on the phone, we're like, yeah, man, like I'm in. Like let's do this. Yeah. And so fast forward a few months, we weren't even planning to come to MCF. I didn't even know MCF existed. Yeah. Okay, so we were only going to be going to where we're going in a few days. We're going to Nakuru to do the water well installation. This will be the 6th project that Josh and the Dirt Project is doing, and we partnered with them, so we're kind of doing it with them too. But yeah, so it was a few months after that Josh ran into, there's this gentleman, his name is Pastor Guy, in our hometown. Pastor Guy. Okay. Do you know him or no? No. Okay, so Pastor Guy is connected to Molly. Oh, okay, so Josh runs into Pastor Guy at a coffee shop one day. Literally, just ran into Pastor Guy. They got talking, and Josh is telling him, hey, we're gonna be going to Nakuru. I'm partnering with this guy, Bill. He's got the podcast, blah, blah. We're gonna shoot a podcast, kick off the next water irrigation project. He's like, well, he started talking about Molly. He started telling Josh about Molly, and I think Josh already knew about Molly, but I didn't. Yeah. And so he starts telling him, and Josh calls me right after. He's like, dude, he goes, I was just with Pastor Guy. And I don't know Pastor Guy, but shout out to Pastor Guy for helping make all this possible. He's like, dude, I just met with this gentleman. His name is Pastor Guy, and he's connected to this guy named Molly, and he's like, Molly's a really big deal, and blah blah. He's like, he goes, he's such a big deal, and this whole thing, MCF is such a big deal. He's like, I don't know if we'll be able to pull it off. He's like, but he goes, I might be able to ask Pastor Guy if he can do me a favor and see if he can introduce us to Molly, and maybe if we extend our trip a little or whatever, that we could also spend some time at MCF. You can maybe sit down with Molly if we can get the opportunity. And I'm like, dude, I'm game for anything. Like I'm game, bro. Like you bring a great opportunity like this to me. Like I said, first of all, I like it. I believe in it, all that. And I was like, yeah, like let's do it. So it wasn't even until a few months after, and thankfully I was delaying on booking the flight and just watching the prices, right? Yeah. And thankfully I hadn't booked the flight, because the only way that we made this happen with Molly is we extended our trip, but we weren't supposed to fly in here until the 17th. Yeah. We ended up coming. Which you would have been gone. Oh yeah, we would have been gone. Yeah. And Molly's flying to our hometown tomorrow.
He told us about that.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like it's unbelievable. Yeah. But like I said, like this leg of our trip, you know, we extended it, but in the beginning of our trip.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it wasn't for all that, like.
That's awesome.
It's just so crazy how, like, I say this all the time, but just the way that the universe connects people like us.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's no coincidence.
Yep.
It's really not.
Yeah.
Like, I really truly believe that. Like, the further, you know, we've done hundreds of these episodes now, and the further along I've gone in this journey, it's like unbelievable. Like we were talking earlier at breakfast, like about us all possibly coming back here like together for, you know, some other things.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's like, are you definitely coming back? Like, is that
definitely? We're setting the dates before we leave, probably June or July. My husband will probably be here for 6 weeks, so it'll depend on the business for me if I can.
Yeah.
But my goal is to really, like, something that I'm very passionate about is marrying business with, you know, serving. And so I want to do mastermind missions where we mastermind on trips, work together to make our businesses better, but also do that in a way that how can we use our businesses to serve others and
so
make a big impact.
Yeah. So who are you looking for that? Like, like I know you may already, like, this first trip might already be set and it might already be closed off, probably, right? But if there are any available spots left, how do people?
I'm open to take anybody. I have a list of people that I'm going to ask because I want to be strategic with who I ask. I want them to be somewhat influential so that it doesn't just stop with them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm open. We're going to have 6 weeks to play with. So, and we were even talking with Molly's daughter. She said that she could probably arrange for, if we're here for the 4th of July, a big fireworks show.
Oh.
So that'll be cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, just people that are, to me, wanting to make an impact with their business. A lot of the times in the business world, it just becomes very self-centered and trying to be the best that you can be. And so to me, the biggest thing that I look at is when I'm at my deathbed, I want to look back and feel like I lived my life well. And I don't think you can do that if you live for yourself. I think you need to live beyond yourself and look at ways to serve others. And so that's really like something that I'm wanting to bring, is to encourage others to make an impact.
Yeah, because like you said, like we all get so caught up in our everyday lives, and like you said, Josh, I had Josh on the podcast a few months ago. It was episode 202, I believe, if you want to like hear about a little more about mine and Josh's experience and a little bit further in the detail of the short story that I gave you. But like Josh gave an example during the episode I had with him of like, you know, if it's, they call it the sand and water parable, like where it's like if you're holding all the sand and water like to yourself like this, and you know correlation is like, you know, you're holding all your money and all, like everything tight with you that you're not sharing it with anyone. So but if you're willing to just open up a little bit and you're willing to give 10% away of time, money, whatever it is, resources, that God will then refill your cup, right? So like but if you keep it like this, you're never going to get anything in return, and you're just going to be so closed off. And like you said, like there's no really fulfillment like in that. But like if you're willing to, you know, open up a little and be able to give back in ways that that you're talking about, and similarly that God will then be able to give back to you, and then you can just keep building and building and building.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great example that Molly's done.
It's incredible.
He gave up a lot.
Yes, he did.
But he also has been able to impact so much more.
For sure.
Yeah.
Future for you, obviously you talked a little bit about the nonprofit that your husband's starting and the other projects you're gonna be working on, but future for you, for the accounting stuff, the missions, like what's on the horizon?
Horizon is just keep going. This is like an exciting, to me, refreshing journey, because it is easy to get caught up, to me, in the business stuff, and it's not bad, but to me, if you just live, if you stay too inward, it's not fulfilling, and so I'm excited to go back refreshed. And to me, the more successful that my business is, the more that I can help people, so I'm excited for that. So just keep growing, keep helping people. I mean, on the tax side of stuff, we get to save people money, so that's really fun, because we truly do help people with that.
Always a bonus.
But yeah, if we can also, like, to me, what I really think would be cool is if we could find like-minded entrepreneurs that want to spend or pay less tax, but then they can take their savings and give some of that away. So that's something I'm excited about.
That's great. I love it. So if anyone's interested in working with you, even, whatever it is, get involved with any of the missions that you're doing, like how can people find you? Where do they need to go? How can they contact you?
I'm most active on Instagram. So Melanie Sikma, Sikma is my last name. And then they could just message me. We offer a free tax assessment. It's just 30 minutes. We jump on. I can ask a few questions and tell you really quickly if you're paying too much in tax. And then that's just free. And then from there, we'll tell you what the next steps are if it makes sense. I'm also very open. If your accountant's doing a great job, I'll tell you that too. And so they can get in touch with me there.
Awesome, really good. So, well, this was a pleasure. Like I said,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that we actually I know you're flying out early tomorrow morning, so thanks again for taking the time, squeezing this in with me, and we'll stay in contact for sure. Yeah. And if you're ever on the East Coast, I'll show you. I'll let you see what some good pizza is.
Awesome.
And if we're ever out in California, we can maybe link up there too.
You go.
So
you can compare our pizza.
Absolutely.
And see if it's any.
We'll have a battle.
Yeah.
We'll have a little battle.
Yeah.
If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/onthestackspodcast or search the hashtag OnTheStacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.